Wave is probably the biggest thing that's happened in the past 4 years for Bitcoin. It's incredibly auspicious for Bitcoin and for the entire crypto industry. But we're also getting a lot of very constructive support from Wall Street. BlackRock has been a very, very strong voice articulating the Bitcoin value proposition. And of course, MicroStrategy on October 30th announced that we were going to raise $42 billion to buy Bitcoin. And that's the same as saying we're going to buy every Bitcoin mine for the next 3 years at $85,000 or more Bitcoin. So there's a lot of bullish things going on in the market right now.
Price staying above 60K. What potentially causes another dive below 30K?
You know, I don't think it's going to 60K. It's not going to 30K. I think it's going to go up from here. I'm planning the 100K party, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be New Year's Eve at my house. So I would be surprised if we don't go through 100K in November or December.
So then what's the biggest threat to it going lower, even if it doesn't get that low?
I think the biggest uncertainty in the industry was November 5th. And would you have a blue wave? Would you have a red wave? Or would you have a split Congress? And would you have any dispute about the future of crypto assets and Bitcoin? I think that was settled by the people very decidedly on November 5th. And I don't really see any threats in the near-term horizon. Well, that's being sponsored by Senator Lummis from Wyoming. And she understands the value of the frontier. The United States was built by purchasing Manhattan. Then we purchased the Louisiana Territory. Then we purchased California and acquired Texas. And then we bought Alaska. The next great frontier is cyberspace. And the obvious thing to do is to own cyberspace, buy the future. And so I think it's a great idea. I think it will happen. And I think it's important to the United States because it cements the United States' control over the future world reserve capital network. Senator Lummis's bill will offset $16 trillion of our debt, according to my models right now. So I think it's economically wise, it's technically wise, and again, Bitcoin is manifest destiny for the United States.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher, and you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you're joining the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Michael Saylor on Bitcoin. And we know how he became a spokesperson. Talks about BlackRock, but then we also know, guys, how Morgan Stanley invested in MicroStrategy right after Michael Saylor became the spokesperson. Now he says that Bitcoin is going to continue to go up and it's going to hit 100K and he's planning the party. And if Bitcoin can stay around this price, we know we get the big pump at the beginning of the month. He'll be exactly right. We'll hit that 100K. And also it depends on the Fed cuts rates and then we'll pump even further. But at the end of the month, we always have a big pullback. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And he says that the Bitcoin Reserve is a great idea getting ready for cyberspace. And when he says cyberspace, we all know he's talking about the fourth industrial revolution, the metaverse, where they want to take this whole economy. And he says that Senator Lummis' Bitcoin Reserve plan would offset $17 trillion of our debt. And because the robots, algorithms, and drones are coming, that's the reason why they have universal basic income running right behind all this technology. They know the people are going to be sitting at home getting free money. Remember, we've already been through the simulation with the C word. Now we have Siegel from Van Eck says the rally will continue due to the Trump administration. And we see all the chess pieces going on. None of those chess pieces in the Trump administration make any sense unless you understand the fourth industrial revolution. And I'm going to get into that later. But says that investment advisors are wanting Bitcoin. They want to add 1 to 3% to their position. And he says that Gary Gensler is out, and we know Gary Gensler is definitely going to leave. Janet Yellen is going to leave. Remember, those were the NWO chess pieces. They've already done their job. They can ride off in the sun. They allow the emerging markets to lead, and then also it allows Trump to make moves so then therefore America can get moved over to this new digital economy. And we have Joe Maglia says that Trump was all of a sudden against Bitcoin. Now he's Mr. Bitcoin, and crypto definitely has a future. And we know that to be a fact. And we have RFK Jr. is ready to break up Big Pharma. And guys, we know why. Because they're going to be putting this on blockchain. The whole medical field is going to be broken up, automated, put on blockchain, tokenized, along with the rest of this economy. But when we look at all these changes, it's the same big corporations and same banks that are funding this plan. Remember, we're in a fragmented world. They have to break up everything in the legacy market in order to bring in this fourth industrial revolution. So everything that they break up, we know AI, blockchain, robots, algorithms, and drones are always the fix. And when it comes to breaking up the system, the people are going to cheer because they're only looking at the surface. They agree with all Robert F. Kennedy Jr. moves because it is correct. It's the correct moves. But after these 4 years, you get moved over to 3D food. The scientist is making your food, not the chef. At least right now, the sheep have a choice. A lot of times they don't pick the best choice, but at least they have a choice. But if you accept that free money, they're going to be telling you what, when, and how to buy, and you have 3 to 6 months to spend it or poof, it's gone. And that's biblical. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
We think it's just getting started. As we expected, Bitcoin saw this high volatility pump after the election. We're now in blue sky territory, no technical resistance, and we think we're likely to make repeated all-time highs over the next 2 quarters. The same pattern played out 4 years ago. Between the election and the end of the year in 2020, Bitcoin doubled. There were about 10% corrections, so it's not going to be a straight line, but we're up 30% so far, and a number of indicators that we track are still flashing green for this rally to continue. This is a state change in terms of government support. Look at this cabinet: the VP, Attorney General, Director of Defense, National Security Advisor, possibly even the Secretary of Treasury being pro-Bitcoin. That's not including Elon and Vivek. So the number of calls that I'm getting inbound from investment advisors who are at 0 and looking to get to 1%, or at 1% and looking to get to 3%, these calls are starting to accelerate, and we think the flows are going to follow. So our price target for this cycle is 180K. We think we can reach that next year. That would be 1,000% return from the bottom to the peak this cycle. That's still the smallest Bitcoin cycle by far.
And double from here, basically. You look at weird things, Matthew, like, so Google search for Bitcoin is one of the things. So you would expect, if we were getting toppy, you would expect that was off the charts, and it's not yet?
Google searches are nowhere near where they were 4 years ago. Coinbase's rank in the Apple and Android app stores, nowhere near where it was 4 years ago. Look at the internals of the derivative markets, what it costs for funding to put on Bitcoin futures trades. You know, it's up, but once we get into this price discovery mode, it tends to stay elevated for quite some time.
What if Gensler's gone, as Trump said on day one, or someone said on day one? I mean, I could imagine that. I don't know when, though, it actually becomes a sell on the news, because I don't know. Maybe I'm just think that it's more of a mania move now than it actually is. But it just seems like it's been a heck of a move. Think it'll move when Gensler's gone, if he's gone?
Yeah, I think, maybe the disappointment phase will set in 1 to 2 quarters after the inauguration. Okay. There's really 4 major impacts here. Okay. One is just the positive impact on dynamism when you stop suing people for breaking rules that have never been written down. That's a long way of saying that regulation by enforcement is going to end. We're already seeing the economic impact of that. There are crypto projects that are announcing that they're going to hold conferences in the U.S. for the first time ever, open offices in the U.S. and New York. It's just great for U.S. jobs and GDP. Right? We've got the Bitcoin reserve that would legitimize this asset as a reserve asset, pave the way for it to be used as a global settlement currency, as the BRICS countries have been doing. President Trump recognizes the synergies between Bitcoin and AI. They are two sides of the same coin. If you want to have cheap AI, you're going to want to combine it with Bitcoin mining to take advantage of that cheap power.
Well, several years ago, Trump wasn't a big fan of Bitcoin. He wasn't a big fan of cryptocurrency.
He is now.
Now he's Mr. Bitcoin.
Right.
And we're going to have a strategic reserve. He's going to have friendly regulators with regard to that. Wants the United States to be the center of the cryptocurrency world. Those things are incredibly positive. Cryptocurrency in general, but very specifically Bitcoin, Ethereum, et cetera. I mean, this is a home run for Bitcoin. And that's very, very different than where he would have been several years ago. But there are a lot of people have changed their tune from where they were several years ago. Remember Jamie Dimon talking about Bitcoin being pet rocks. All those things have changed. And Bitcoin, I think there isn't any question that that's legitimately here to stay. And I think it's going to have significant growth ahead of it.
What do you think, and do we know what the implications of this pick would be? We can't know for sure. We don't know if some of his views have evolved. But if you take some of his prior statements at face value, John, a lot of it is populist sort of bunk bunk that's been debunked, really. And I don't know if he has different viewpoints now, but a lot of it would be, I would think, dangerous and probably counterproductive to a healthier country.
I think, Joe, that many of us in industry are really concerned that he represents a clear and present danger to one of the greatest industries of the world.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID Stories 3. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.